What is Ashura? Well, at this point, we don't know. Matter of fact, even because of the latest content, latest chapters of One Piece, Ashura is not even more of a mystery. Even more of a mystery. Before going further, spoiler warning for any non-manga readers of One Piece, I promise you, you will be spoiled and your day will be ruined.
And my day is ruined.
Now, Ashura. Before Ashura, let's go to Roof Piece. Yes. Let's go to Roof Piece because it's even a more important question first before we get to chapter 1033. How did Zoro skip a step? This was one of the weirdest things that we got in Roof Piece. Zoro being able to somehow suddenly infuse his attacks with Conqueror's Haki the moment Luffy figures out that you can actually do Conqueror Haki infusion. How on God's green earth did Zoro skip a step for his Conqueror's Haki? So in the manga, there has never been a situation where Zoro ever uses Conqueror's Haki to knock out other people or subdue creatures, not a single time. Some folks have theorized here or there that Zoro might have potentially sort of used it in various situations in the past. But of course, 0% confirmation, 0%. But mind you, very important here, the anime does fill in the gap that the manga has left open when it comes to Zoro knocking out people with Conqueror's Haki. So the anime actually has more details when it comes to Zoro's Conqueror's Haki than the manga, which means that when the anime does get to Roof Piece and we have Zoro scar Kaido, anime-only fans of One Piece are going to have a better framework of the situation compared to manga-only readers. But again, the reason why Kaido asking Zoro about Conqueror's Haki, the reason why it was so confusing and didn't make much sense at the time was because Zoro had, again, skipped a step. Zoro himself was actually confused, said, wait, what are you talking about, before he collapsed. The reason why a lot of folks theorize he could actually utilize Conqueror's Haki in that moment was because of Ashura. Ashura was the main catalyst. However, at this point in time, it's very, very likely that it's Enma, not Ashura, Enma. Enma is the catalyst for Zoro's Conqueror's Haki infusion. During Roof Piece, we saw several times Enma surge, like it was a flaming blade, like he was Makoto Shishio. The blade was completely on fire. We saw that happen several times on the rooftop, showing us the readers very clearly that even though Zoro had been training off screen with Enma for a period of time before the raid started, Enma was still unique. Enma was still built different. And it was noted too by Big Mom and Kaido specifically how dangerous of a weapon Enma was, how the sword wasn't normal. Before the Black Rope Dragon Twister, Enma surges and Kaido's scales were cut. Before Ashura's Dead Man Game, Enma once again surges and Kaido took a scar from Zoro. Based on the new intel that we get from the latest chapters of One Piece, it looks like during the rooftop fight, during Roof Piece, Enma was actually drawing out so much Haki from Zoro that Enma drew out Zoro's Conqueror's Haki. That's why Zoro could skip a step. That's why Zoro was so confused, because it was not something that Zoro had intended to do. And again, the only other thing that could explain this phenomenon of Zoro skipping a step would be Ashura, and whatever Ashura is. But Ashura, once again, now is even more of a mystery. Like this Scooby-Doo mystery continues to evolve and continues to get deeper when it comes to Ashura, because now we know the truth of the cursed swords. Cursed swords are not real. They're fake. They're fabricated. Like many mythical things in One Piece, like there are no ancient Chinese flying dragons. No, they're just flying fish. They're just flying fish. In the case of cursed swords, they're not actually cursed, but more so strong blades that are deemed to be cursed have actually very strong personalities, the blade itself. And weak people fear these swords, therefore they call them cursed. But that blade's strong personality is a sign, a clear sign of the quality of the sword itself. And Enma has an absolutely domineering and very serious personality, which is why Kozaburo himself stated, the same man that made Warichimonji said that the greatest blade that he made was definitively Enma. A legendary blacksmith said that Enma was his best sword, confirming that Enma is better than Waluigi, and honest to God, is probably the best great grade blade you've ever seen in a story by far. By far. This ties to Ashura, because one of the ideas about Ashura was that the cursed swords, in particular the Sandai Ketets at the time, mainly were the root cause of things like Ashura, because the demon effects, Ashura, Enbima, all these things were an effect of the curse of the blade. Now that theory is dead in the water, like a cement block was tied to a rope, tied to the theory, and it got thrown into the bay, and it's dead. Will it come back? Will it get Edo Tensei? Probably not, unless Oda's gonna add something new in the future pertaining to, let's say, City of the Rain, Mihawk. Maybe, but I had my doubts. At this point in time, it's in the bay, it's drowning. No, it's actually dead. So Ashura right now does not seem to be a primary focus for Zoro's awakening, because Ashura is something that Zoro's already had. All we really need is to explain exactly what it is. Obviously, before Roof Piece, it was a very, very long time since we've seen Ashura. That is without a doubt. However, the thing that is injecting Nitrox into his Hot Wheels is, once again, most likely Enma. In the same chapter, 1033, when Zoro is determined to wield Enma, just as good as Oden could, when he was so focused on controlling his Haki while Enma is drawing out his Haki, random men get knocked out by Zoro's Conqueror's Haki. In the next panel, as the men fall to the ground and we see black sparks form around Zoro's sword, Kane looks surprised, and then he asks Zoro, "So you intend to be a king?" And Zoro's first response is, "What? What are you talking about?" Seemingly confused about what King just said before he responds about Luffy and the Kuina. So it looks like Zoro didn't intentionally knock out the fodder behind him, or was even aware that the fodder were behind him in the first place based on the chapter, because he was so focused on exerting as much Haki to try and stabilize Enma as Enma continues to draw out Zoro's Haki. That's what it seems to be. He's now fully committing himself to giving Enma and his swords his all in terms of his Haki pool. That is the main thing here. So once again, it looks like Enma is drawing out Zoro's Conqueror's Haki from within himself. 2 times now. Like it's Dr. Disrespect, Blockbuster video game champion. 2 times now.
I'm the 2-time. Consecutive years. 2 times.
We have seen Zoro display ignorance in conjunction with him utilizing Conqueror's Haki in some capacity. And both instances are directly involved with Enma. Only one has Ashura, and that was the first time. And Zoro's ignorance on this matter is also backed up by chapter 1012. When Sanji's patching up Zoro, making his infamous Zoro cross, when he asks Zoro what's going on with Luffy in the rooftop, Zoro says it seems like he's figured out something, he's going to win. So based on that, it seems like Zoro is still unclear on what Luffy has learned. But that very thing is what Zoro seems to be doing now. And this time around, Zoro is exerting as much Haki as he can in order to pass Enma's test. And because COC is being used, Ashura is a non-factor. Not to say that Ashura won't be used against King of the Wildfire. Maybe will be. I think probably. Yeah, why not? But when it comes to Zoro's current awakening, Enma is the key here, because Enma is the catalyst for Zoro's Conqueror's Haki, not the source. I did have a notion out there where it could have been both the source and the catalyst, but half that theory is gone now, where it's not the source, but it absolutely, I think clearly now, is the catalyst. But there is another very important feature that has to be addressed because it ties directly to Zoro's life. Kinemon's statement seems to be very valid now. Back in chapter 955, when Zoro first gets Enma. After Zoro cuts the cliff off, Kinemon states that a normal swordsman would be a husk, a mummy, when they normally try and wield Enma. And tying that back, in a chapter 1033, Zoro states clearly that exuding this much Haki, trying to stabilize its output and reign in Enma would kill him. It would kill him. And we've actually seen something very similar before in the series, where there's a very obscure hidden character, the lurking legend of One Piece, if you would, who has a very similar feature for their powers. And that, my friends, is Monkey D. Luffy. Monkey D. Luffy, after Gear 4, used up so much Haki that he can't use Haki for 10 minutes or so. Luffy was the only one in the series to have this issue for the most part. However, Zoro right now is in a very similar situation. The thing here though is that in Zoro's case, it seems to be more severe. Where in Zoro's case, again, it's going to kill him if he utilizes so much haki at this level. Now, what this quote level is, we don't know, but the implication here is that Zoro can't reach this level without Enma, because Enma is forcing out more haki within Zoro than Zoro can normally or even possibly force out. And actually, when I think about it, I did kind of lie when I compared this situation with Zoro right now to Luffy's Gear 4 situation when his Gear 4 runs out. Its similarities to Gear 4 are there, but only from the perspective of someone's haki rapidly depleting and then that haki depletion's effect on them. We can actually go to the other power system in One Piece, the Devil Fruit power system, and look at better comparisons. But it's actually more similar to Luffy in Gear 2 in the pre-time skip. When Luffy used Gear 2 in the pre-time skip, when he used it too often, he would expend his own lifespan, his own life force in the process. The same thing is actually there for Trafalgar D. Water Law in Dressrosa when he tries to sustain this very large room to avoid Dofi's detection. When he sustained that big room, he was using his own life force in the process. This is the haki version of that, where Zoro is exuding as much haki as possible, and Enma continues to draw even more haki than that. If Zoro continues to maintain this state for a prolonged period of time, then Zoro may start actually losing years of his life. So moving forward, now we understand Zoro's awakening and the importance of Enma and Zoro's current haki awakening. We can now look forward to Zoro fully bending Enma to his will, and in the process stabilize his haki to a point where he can utilize Enma normally. And because Enma is such a powerful blade, he's going to exude a higher level of haki constantly, probably, which will probably make Zoro's haki level higher and stronger, or increase his haki pool or potency, however you want to see it exactly, how you want to see it. And he'll also gain in the process a greater understanding of his own Conqueror's haki usage. So during this fight, / the end of the fight, Zoro may get to the point, let's say similar to Yamato, where Yamato can seemingly put Conqueror's haki on her club at will quite easily. Zoro seemingly isn't there yet because of a lack of understanding and / or, not too sure exactly, not enough haki in his haki pool, or his haki level isn't high enough, or his haki isn't strong enough. Again, however you want to see it. And now that we're seeing Zoro exert this much haki in tandem with Enma drawing out these levels of haki within Zoro that he normally can't tap into, I think it's possible now that we're going to see Zoro use some range attacks that might, I'm not going to say for sure of course, but might resemble that of Roger's Divine Departure, because that attack that he used against Oden, I think, was also imbued with Conqueror's haki. I'm not too sure if we're going to find out anything new about Ashura. Probably not. We'll probably see Ashura, maybe, in this fight against King the Wildfire, but will new things be revealed about Ashura? I'm not too sure. I'm willing to bet no. But at the same time, if you see my video, why we can never see Zoro the same again, I do think that Ashura does tie more towards his lineage, or his hidden lineage. Like why he looks like a younger version of Shimotsuki Ushimaru, or the sword god himself, Ryoma. I think these things are more prevalent to understanding Ashura more so than anything else. So hopefully this video gave you greater insight on what's going on with Zoro's recent awakening. Whether I'm on point or off point, only time can tell. In the future, depending on what happens with the King the Wildfire fight, there may be a stage 2 for Zoro's awakening. Let me know your stance on the subject matter at hand. I'm gonna see you cats on the flip side. Be easy, take care, have a nice one.